WrestleCast podcast starts now.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Cowboy Bob, and welcome to WrestleCast podcast. I couldn't be more excited for this show today. Folks, we have none other than Scott Larsen, one of the best podcasters in the Carolinas, I'm here to tell you. Mind-blowing. I've learned so much from this guy, and I've got questions for him. Yeah, the tables have turned. We're flipping the roles, and we're going to have an awesome show. Folks, ask all the questions you want to ask because, hey, he's an open book just as well as I am. You can ask me also. We're an open book. We have no problem answering questions. So let me start a little thing like this and say this. If you notice down at the bottom, we do have, if you're going to send donations, send them to the Cash App, Bobby Meadows 761. All those proceeds go to help the channel grow and become better and bigger. And we do appreciate that. Anything helps. It doesn't matter how small, how big. We greatly appreciate it. Not only that, we have so much in store. It's unbelievable. I would like to go ahead and just go ahead and let's jump right into it. And let's just go ahead and bring Scott on. Scott Larsen, welcome to WrestleCast podcast.
What's going on, brother? We were talking just before the show here, getting ready to come on live, man. It's weird being on this side, man. I'm used to being on that side.
Right? It's totally different. It's different from me because, you know, I've had podcasts where I've been on podcasts with you before. So, yeah, it's different for myself, too.
But I am ready, man. Ask away. I hope everybody shows up and shows out and asks me a million questions. That's what I'm here for, man. I'll use your line to get the dirt on me, man.
yeah, exactly, because that's what we do at WrestleCast Podcast. We get the dirt. Right. And let's just start off by this. Well, we'll go ahead. We got to throw Missy out there because she jumps right in and says, hello, gentlemen. Hello, Missy. Thank you for stopping by and watching WrestleCast Podcast.
Hello, Missy. Missy and her family are a mainstay on #Truth, man. So I love it. So, hey, Missy, how you doing?
Yeah, she's an amazing fan. She's very dedicated, and I greatly appreciate her for sure. She jumps in. She asks us a million questions to all the people on the show. It's great. I do want to say this, fans. You can watch this. Don't forget about our YouTube channel, WrestleCast Podcast YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe. One thing that I did talk about to Scott when we were off cam is that you can watch that on your television. If you've got a Roku, if you've got a Fire Stick, if you've got an on 4K box, streaming box, if you've got a smart television that's got YouTube, you can watch it live right there on YouTube, big screen. You can ask your questions on your telephone, and you're good to go. We definitely want to blow that channel up and do what we can there. So that in itself, I just want to get that out there and point that out. Chris Childers says, how many questions can Scotty actually answer? I'll tell you what, Chris, probably as many as we can ask.
Bring them on. I'm ready. I am ready.
Missy says she's watching it on TV now. We appreciate that. Good job.
So you got all this ugliness on full screen. I feel sorry for you, Missy.
Scott, let's start out by telling the fans of WrestleCast Podcast just how you got into the business of being a podcaster.
Oh, man, I've told this story many times through the years. I've been doing it for about a little over 6 years now, a little over 500 episodes. It started back when I was going to HWA, which eventually turned into EWF, which changed into HWA. I realized that there was people at the shows asking questions, but there was nobody doing a podcast or asking questions and stuff like that. So I decided to take a chance and I went live a couple of times on Facebook and brought in people. The first person I ever interviewed was Big Country, and he's been on my show many times. Just recently retired, man. We're gonna miss him. And it was just amazing. I just wanted to bring an opportunity. A lot of people who do podcasts, yourself and others, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but a lot of podcasters like to bring in big names. They want to bring in the superstars and stuff like that. I'm just the opposite, man. I want to bring in the little guy, get him recognition, give him a chance to, find that diamond in the rough. Now, if a big guy comes along, I've said it a million times, I'm not going to say no to a Ric Flair or anybody else who's in WWE. But my show has always been about the guy who's just getting started, the guy who has never done a podcast, never had to answer questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where it all started, bro.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, looky here. I think you know this guy, Ivan M. Righteous. Cheesecake is here. How you doing?
Now, if you want the dirt, Ivan is my producer for #Truth. Always has been the man behind the scenes. He's helped me. He was the one who invented my favorite segment of my show, which is name drop. A lot of people don't know that, but that was his idea.
Wow. Ivan is a very talented gentleman. He's extremely talented. I've had him on the show. I was actually pleased to have him on the show. Many years in the business, managing, just doing so much for the indie business, and like you were talking about the little guys, and let's say this too when it comes to those, because I don't want to really. I understand when you say the little guy, and I understand what you mean by that. But we have some good guys in the indie business that are amazing, and they really put on a heck of a show, work hard, travel far to do that for us. I try to make every show that I can. I'm very busy. I have a crazy schedule. You yourself go to shows. You go to
not as much as I used to. Everybody knows I've got major issues with my health. I used to go to a lot of shows in my area, but here recently I haven't been to any in gosh, it's probably been 4 or 5 weeks since the last time I went to a show. I think the last show I went to was the very last match that Big Country had at HWA. I think that was the last time I was out in public, to be honest. I try, man. I try because, to be a podcaster, you want to be out there amongst the guys, man. You want to be part of the locker room. You don't want to be in the locker room, but you want to be part of the team. You're trying to make them look good.
Exactly. Chris says, Scott and #Truth was the first podcast I ever done. That's cool. That's cool. And he says he's a little guy.
I love that. and that makes me feel so good when people tell me that, man. It really does.
Well, I tell you, me, myself, and I'm thankful that I look at it like you've paved the way for me to be able to do what I'm doing. You're an inspiration to me to be able to sit here. I'm doing WrestleCast podcast now, and I have no problem telling all the fans it is because of Scott Larsen. I've learned so much, and I have progressed to where I'm at now because of you, and I greatly appreciate that and all your help and all your advice. It is a blessing. It doesn't go unnoticed whatsoever.
I do have to say one thing. I have to give a shout out to all the local podcasts, man. You are one of them. Straight Up Wrestling Show, Peaches and Power Bombs. There's The Bottom Line, Luke Childers, man. He's coming hard and strong. I always say he's the future of this business, podcasting. And, you got the Wrestling Wire with Ron Emerson. All of us, I might have started first, but with all these great podcasts coming up, and I like helping everybody, man. If anybody asks me, for a background or helping with a video or anything like that, man, I love doing that. That's what I think God put me on this earth for. You know what I'm saying?
You're doing an amazing job at it too, by the way. You do an amazing job at it. Ivan says, Scott Larsen says that CM Punk has the best promo of all time. even though it is really Dusty Rhodes. But who is better commentating, Jim Ross or Gordon? What is that? Soley?
Gordon Soley. Gordon Soley. Hands down, Gordon Soley. I love good old JR, but I grew up watching Gordon Soley. Gordon Soley is my mentor. Gordon Soley was the guy I wanted to be when I started podcasting, man. That's my guy. He was the commentator for Continental Championship Wrestling. That's what got me into the wrestling business to begin with. You know, when people ask, you know, how'd you get into the wrestling business? I grew up watching Continental Championship Wrestling and Gordon Soley with his alcohol underneath there and he drinking and doing his thing. That was my guy, you know, without a doubt. I love JR. Don't get me wrong. One of the best Hall of Famers. But if you put a gun to my head, Gordon Soley is number one, man, without a doubt.
Gotcha. Well, there you go, Ivan. There you go. You got the dirt on that one. Missy says, Scott, are you a part of the team? I appreciate she said you are a part of the team. I appreciate everything you do for wrestlers and referees. You were the first podcast that we started watching. And, you know, that right there in itself, man, that's a statement. That is a statement. She also says,
you know,
go ahead. Scott, who in your mind is the worst promo ever? Ooh, that's a good question, Missy.
She knows the answer. She knows. I don't forgot his name. I take so much medicine. I forgot. What was his name? Oh, come on, Missy. You can say it. You can give me the answer for me. He did the worst promo ever. If you guys go watch it on YouTube, you'll laugh hysterically, man. It was bad. It was really bad.
I tell you, I've seen some bad promos. I've witnessed some stuff that just should have never been recorded.
There we go. Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. Jumpin' Jeff Farmer was his name. Go put Jumpin' Jeff Farmer in YouTube after this show, and you'll get the laugh of a lifetime if you love professional wrestling. Trust me.
I'm definitely going to do it. I've got to do it. Chris says, Jim Ross, Cowboy, you better know who Gordon is. We can kick you out of the business for not knowing.
Right?
Yes,
right. That's what I'm saying, man. Yes, that's like saying you don't know who Ric Flair is, man. Come on now.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, I know who Gordon is. Look, I got bad eyes, Chris. We're going to go with that.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I've always enjoyed doing my show though. It's just what I enjoy doing. What my favorite thing to do is I don't like going back and watching myself per se. Yeah. But I like going back, and if you go on my YouTube page and scroll and go on videos and go all the way to the bottom and see where I started, and then look at my podcast today and see what it's become. That's what I'm most proud of. All that stuff that you see that's on StreamYard, that's, other than a few videos that, Chuck did, Ivan did, which I thank him for every day. He did some commercials for me and things like that. Everything was, I self-taught myself. And if you really want to be a good podcaster in this business, I'm just going to spew it out there. You got to work hard at it. It's just like wrestling. You got to keep learning. You got to keep going. To me, it wasn't, who I was interviewing. It was, I was professional no matter who was on, who I was talking to. They could have had 2 matches. They could have been a 20-year vet. Give them the respect, give them the opportunity, let them tell their story. You never know what you're going to get in podcasting. And I like telling this one story. I know I'm being long-winded, but there was this one gentleman who came on. There's this one gentleman that came on my show, and he said he got out of jail. He was in jail, nothing to look forward to. He got out, decided to become a wrestler. Now he runs his own show. He's an entrepreneur. He's helping other people to come in. That's the stories I want to hear, man. I mean, that gets me. And I love a good story, man. Give me something to invest in, man. Just like you're getting the dirt. Give me something to invest in.
That's right, brother. That's right. Hey, check it out. Ivan says Sully was also the voice of Georgia Championship Wrestling. Now,
yeah.
I don't
He did a lot of them. He did a lot of them, but I watched him mostly during Continental.
Ivan's a little older than I am on the scale there, so I don't remember that. I'll pay for that one later.
See, I still to this day, when I see somebody lift somebody up over their head and fall backwards, it's a suplex. It's not a suplex. It's a suplex. That's what Gordon Soley called it. And I believe that's the name of the move. And I'll never, ever call it anything different, man.
Got that. Chris says, I like going back and watching old #Truth. It just happens to be the ones I'm on that laugh. Hey, I like going back and watching #Truth. I also get some information when I do that. I think research is an amazing thing that we're able to do. I also believe in you never stop learning ever. Anytime you got somebody who says they know it all, they should hang it up and close up shop because you never stop learning. So that's just my 2 cents, and that's what I believe. Missy is dead set on who was the worst interview you did.
That's man, Miss, you're gonna put me on the spot, ain't you?
Hey, we get the shirt right here at WrestleCast Podcast, Scott.
I knew I was gonna get this question, but I didn't go back and look at a bunch of I won't say a name, but I'll tell you the type of interview I can't stand. Is when you like you said, you do all the research, you do everything you got to do, and the person comes on and they give you 1-word answers. That is, if you're a wrestler, let me give you a piece of advice, and if I piss you off, I just piss you off. I love every one of you, but 75% of wrestling is knowing how to talk. You got to know how to talk. You got to have charisma, and you got to know how to talk. Okay. If you can't do either one of those, you're going to have a hard time in professional wrestling.
That is facts. That is facts. Folks, y'all heard it. I mean, that's it in a nutshell right there. You've got to be able to talk. You
got to. I mean, if you can't promo, how are you going to talk people into the building? I know Missy loves asking that question to wrestlers. How can you talk people into the building? That's a great question because 75% of the wrestlers out there, and there's a lot of wrestlers. I'm not just talking about North Carolina and South Carolina, so I don't want a bunch of emails and messages after this. I'm talking about of the United States of America. 75% of these guys, you turn on a mic, you turn on a camera in front of them, and they're shell-shocked. You got to go to this address and come see me wrestle this guy. I'm not going to go see that. I want to see somebody who's, who believes it themselves. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, exactly. And you've got to be able to sell that. You got to sell yourself. That's exactly what you're saying. And I get it. And I see so many not do it. I see guys, hey, look here, March, blah, blah, blah. I'm coming out there and I'm going to whip your tail. And then I'm going to go home.
It's like they have a script and they're reading off the script. Nobody wants to see that.
No,
do something imaginative. Do something that's gonna, catch my eye. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we live in an era where social media is selling a lot of tickets. And I'm gonna say this, and if I hurt some feelings, I'm sorry if I do, but it's the way I feel because I've done it. If you're a wrestler, it would behoove you to go out and learn how to use a camera, learn how to do editing, if you do that and you make your promos look different, you make your promos look special. If you could learn how to do vignettes like the WWE does, you're going to skyrocket. You can only know 3 moves in the ring, but if you got that, people are going to come see you. I'm just saying, my opinion.
I agree. It makes so much sense.
I'll give you a perfect example, and I say it all the time. The Rock in WWE had 7 moves. You could watch a couple of Rock matches, and by the 3rd match, you could tell exactly what he's gonna do and when he's gonna do it. But you never knew what he was gonna say when he grabbed that mic and put it in his mouth. You had to hear what he was gonna say. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that goes for managers too. Ivan M. Righteous is one of the best out there at doing that, and I'm going to give him some love, man. He knows how to get people invested, man.
I agree 100%. He really does. He knows how to work a crowd. he wears many hats. Ivan wears many hats, and he's very good at each one of them. You know,
Yes,
and that's very important in between. You don't see that a lot. You know, it's mind blowing to me what that guy can do. We're going to take a couple more questions here. Missy says, my favorite part of hashtag truth is name dropping. I love playing along. Name drop is awesome.
Too, but when Ivan came to me with that idea, at first I didn't get it. I was like, and then it grew to where people were expecting it, people were loving it, and sometimes you get a good story, and sometimes you just get, I don't want to talk about this guy, I hate his guts. You never know what you're going to get. Yeah. And I always do 5 people. So, you get a variety.
Chris says, learning to promo is a lost art. Guys now have to script what they say versus just give me information and let me go. That's a lost art. I agree with that 100%. That is so true.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Missy says they got to believe like Joe Hendry.
I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe. I don't want to start singing because then I run everybody off. But yes, I love people that can get me interested, and that's what started to give me something to invest in. You know what I mean? Because back in the day, and this is what made hashtag truth popular in my eyes. Back in the day, I haven't done one in a long time, but I used to do rants. I would see something going on in professional wrestling. I'd get upset about it, and I would come on and I would give my 2 cents. Now, that's how I learned a lot in professional wrestling, because a lot of the times I was wrong, because people always come at me, Scott, you've never been in the business, you've never been a wrestler. That's right. So I had to learn a lot. Trust me, in 6.5 years, I've got people that have called my phone and said, Scott, that's not really how this works. Let me explain to you how it works. Oh, wow. And that's how I learned through the years. And I'll tell you, Chris Thunder Anderson was one of them, man. He sat me down. I even at one time made him so upset I had to go on a pilot. I had to eat dirt. I had to go and sit down with him and say, bro, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, wow.
And I had to man up. And that taught me a huge lesson. I'll never forget that. And we've been good friends ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Missy says, we got enough bad butts. We need some more fun guys.
Yeah, true. It's true. Charisma is everything in professional wrestling. I don't mean anybody, but you can, I hate to say it this way, but you can teach a monkey to do some wrestling moves. You know what I'm saying? You can teach a dog to go up and flip in the ring and do something, and get a pop. It's the other stuff. It's all of it combined. It's not just one or two things. You got to have the whole. You got to have the it factor. I guess that's what people have been calling it. You got to have that it factor. And part of that's the body, man. If you come in and you're 100 pounds and you're, skin and bones, and then you're going up against a guy that looks like he's a weightlifter, don't expect the promoter to look and go, oh yeah, you're getting over. You're going to win. It's not going to happen.
I agree 100%. Ivan says, if you can go back and offer you that is so green that you are blue and yellow, 2 pieces of advice, what would it be? You decipher that message for me.
Dude, the first thing I would tell somebody green coming into the business, and I'm not a wrestler, but I've heard this from every vet that I've ever talked to. Go to accredited school to get trained. Go pay the $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is. It's worth it. Trust me. It's worth it. You're going to learn how to promo. They're going to teach you how to promo. They're going to teach you the hard camera. They're going to teach you which direction to face. They're going to teach you facial expressions. How many times, Cowboy Bob, have you watched a wrestling match and somebody gets punched in the face and there's no facial expression? None.
I've seen it. I've seen it a million times.
It drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. You've got to, if somebody's wrenching on your leg, they got you in a move and they're wrenching on your leg and you're just reaching for the rope and your face doesn't say I'm hurting. You're no selling this guy.
Exactly.
You might as well pop right back up.
At that point, you're hurting both of you guys, And yeah, exactly. Look here. Chris says Ivan does a very good job. Just don't tell him I said that. Well, you know, at the end of the day, we know Ivan, and we know how big that head can swell. We love you, Ivan. We love you.
Just don't talk about his golf game, and you'll be all right.
Oh, I ain't lying. You want to see the serious side of Ivan? That's what you do. You talk about his golf game, and you go get the dirt, literally.
You're gonna find out how he really feels at that point.
Missy says,
we love you, Ivan.
She says it's better to invest in yourself than hurt yourself. Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Yes. That's exactly right.
I do agree with that.
Every wrestler, bad guy or good guy, should watch Ricky Morton matches. You know, I am a huge Ricky Morton fan from back in the day, the 80s, the 90s. Loved Rock and Roll Express. Couldn't stand Midnight. One thing I do want to say real quick while I'm in the middle of that conversation, I'm sorry about jumping around.
No, you're good, man.
All y'all fans out here watching right now, do me a favor, share this podcast while it's live. Get the viewers in there. Share it. And the more y'all share, the more.
Yeah, come on, Missy. I know you can ask some good deep down questions. I know Ivan can ask some deep down questions. He knows me pretty good. Come on, I want some questions that I got to answer. Now, Missy put me on the spot a while ago about my worst podcast ever. I'll turn it back on myself. The worst podcast I ever had is when my chair broke out from under me. Because I'm a big guy, and I had a wooden chair that I was sitting on, and it literally broke out from under me and hurt me. My daughter had to come on the screen. I know she remembers this very well. My daughter had to come on the screen and tell everybody, hey, podcast is over. But what was funny, Cowboy Bob, was I was interviewing a great commentator of another show. His name was Darwin. His last name is Darwin. Great commentator. I love this guy. And he kept going. He had this notebook, and he never skipped a beat, bro. I was down on the floor crying. All you could see was the top of my Redskin hat, and he kept right on going, man. It was great. Yeah, you got to go back and look that one up. That's a good one, man. Jonathan Darwin is who I was interviewing. It was a really good show.
All right, I can do that. That's for sure. Here we go. Oh, look here. Last question. You got to choose a product. There can only be one. Take our podcast, please, or the pick. How is that for a tough question?
Oh my gosh. It's got to be the pick. I love Take Our Podcast, but the pick is too funny. If you're wondering what he's talking about, we do a show called the Slapdown Digicast, and Chuck made some commercials for it, and both of them are funny as all get out, but the pick is really funny, man. We're gonna have to play that again, man. Well, speaking of that, we're gonna have a podcast tomorrow night, so you guys can come see it, and I'll play it on there.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, the pick is definitely that answer.
All right. While we are waiting for a few questions, if you give me a second, we're going to take a short little commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good, man.
This is 4 Foot Batman. And 4 Foot Batman knows the home of great collectibles at awesome prices. Retro toys and collectibles, movie memorabilia, Magic the Gathering cards, wrestling figures, Hot Wheels, the always popular Funko Pops, and much, much more. He knows the Hall of Collectibles is located in downtown Cherryville, North Carolina, at 400 East Main Street. Give them a call today, 980-989-5181. Retro Toys and Collectibles, the heavyweight champion in collecting.
Well, there you go. All right, check this out. I got a question for you, Scott. I want you to walk us through your planning and research process for a podcast.
Oh man. Okay, so a good question, man. I love that. So I have 5 segments on my show that I do.
Okay.
And what I do is I'll go to that person's Facebook, their Instagram, for my research. I'll look them up. One of them is Let's Watch You promo. So I grab a promo, and sometimes it ain't the one that they just did. It might be one that they did a year ago. Whichever one I think is the best is the one I'll pick.
Right.
And then one of my segments is Let's Watch You Wrestle. Sometimes I let them, if I don't know them at all, I'll have them send me a match. But if I know them, if they're local in the area and I know them, I'll go in and I'll pick a match so we can watch it. And that seems to go over pretty well because people like to know what wrestlers feel, how they're feeling when they're in the ring doing their stuff. And I'm going to say this. If other people want to do that, I would love to see that. You or any other podcast, show the wrestling matches. I wouldn't look at it as you're stealing it because that is something that the fans want to know, man. That's easy. It's easy to ask questions when you're watching them wrestle. Hey, what did you feel there? How did this feel? The crowd was pretty big, and it's real easy to ask questions, and I enjoy that. But yeah, I do that. And then, of course, for name drop, I try to get 5 wrestlers that they wrestle against. That's the big thing that I try to do. If I can't, if I know the wrestler really well, I might go somewhere else with that just to try to pull something out, just to try to get a little, because there's been a few times where a wrestler has seen somebody pop up on the screen and they know what I'm doing and they'll be like, pass, I don't want to talk about it. But I'm like you, I try to get the dirt and it don't work all the time, but I try.
It does not work all the time. You're exactly right. Ethan Cannon says hi.
Oh, how you doing, Ethan, man? How you doing? The thing I like doing the best, though, is just going on YouTube or Facebook and just finding shows and watching indie shows, man. You can learn a lot from watching, and that's where I've gotten probably half of my guests outside of North Carolina and South Carolina is I'm watching that and I see them and I'm like, ooh, I hope they can interview good because I'd love to have that person on my show,
Yeah,
and sometimes it's that simple. I like the KISS method a lot. Keep it simple, stupid,
There you go. There you go. I like that. Hey, I'll tell you what I'd like to see on #Truth. I'd like to see Nikki Chooch on #Truth. Nikki Chooch, I'm favorable to Nikki Chooch. I like this guy. He's great in the ring. He's good with the crowd. He knows how to work it, and he's phenomenal. You got to get guy.
He reminds me of that actor. I never can remember his name. We talked about that before. He reminds me of that New York actor who's got the brothers who had the restaurant chain.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the
Marky Mark, I think.
Yeah, back in the day, Marky Mark and Mark Wahlberg, the Wahlburgers.
Mark Wahlberg, yeah, he reminds me of Mark Wahlberg, which is it's a compliment, sir. So Chooch, Mr. Chooch, if you're watching this, that's a compliment.
Yes, definitely. Chris said he loves Nikki Chooch. Yes, Nikki.
Yeah, I like him too, man. I wish I could see him in person. Hopefully, when I get this back taken care of on Friday, I go to the doctor. Hopefully, I can start going out and seeing some more shows and that because I really want to get out to EPW. That's right behind my house here, a couple miles, and of course go back to HWA and I want to get out to Wrestling Evolution. I want to get out to NAWA. There's tons of places that I'd love to go to. So.
Definitely. How do you select guests for your show?
I think I just told you, but I'll say it again, man. I go and I watch a ton of wrestling, man. If I'm bored at all, I go and I watch wrestling. I'll turn on YouTube and I'll just, there's so many shows out there. People, if you love wrestling, I mean, some are old, some are new, it doesn't matter. But you go on there and, I just like watching. And if I like what I see, if I see a character that's, bigger than life, I want to interview him.
That's good. It's a good answer.
Now,
Good
I do have people that hit me up. Hey, Scott, I'd love to be on your show. And that's the quickest way to get on my show because, if you're volunteering, then I know you want to get on there and you want to talk most of the time. Most of the
At that
time.
point, you're showing you're invested. You're showing you're
Right.
invested. And I've had that happen. A gentleman from School of Morton hit me up, wanting to be on the show, which was great. That was a great podcast, actually. I really enjoyed working with him. Chris says the promo segment is good too. Sometimes it's funny to watch. Some guy can talk and some guys can't. The ones that can't are the funniest.
Right.
Yeah, you are right about that.
That's why I like putting those up there, man, is because if you're not all into, because I'll ask the guy, hey, for every show, do you put a promo out? Well, I try, and I'm like, that's not good, man. If you're invested in a show, if they're putting you on their poster, you should be doing a promo for them. You should be getting people, because that's going to behoove you. That's going to make you more money down the road.
That's right. That's exactly right. Chris also says he loves that Vicky Chooch feel the vibration.
Feel the vibration.
Lord have mercy. Ivan, everybody remember, it's Thursday night SmackDown Digicast on Wednesdays. Tomorrow night, 7:05 on Facebook. Why 7:05? Because Ted Turner said so.
That's right. And we just have to be different.
There's nothing wrong with being different. I love different. I want to get into a little bit more questions and dive deeper into production, recording.
Okay.
What equipment do you use to record your podcast?
I use StreamYard, same system you're using. Been using it since I, started doing it what I call professionally, not just Facebook Live.
Correct.
And again, you can go back and through the years, look on my, pages, and you could see how I progressed with it. Everything that you see on there, I learned myself doing the backgrounds, doing the. I literally took another program that makes posters. It's called Poster My Wall. Took that program, and I learned how to make posters the size of this. I'm just going to put it out there. I made this one right here for you.
Yes. Beautiful.
So,
love it.
I take it and I take the logos and I put them in there and I size them up. I'll go to StreamYard. I'll put it up. I'll call my daughter and say, hey, act like you're coming on the show so I can see if it fits right. Yeah. And she's my little guinea pig and she loves it. And that's how I see if the background's going to look nice. And I've been doing that ever since. I mean, trial and error. I don't like keeping the same look for more than like a year. If you go back, you'll see that my look has changed, through my 6 years.
It does.
I changed colors, changed my logo. I mean, the logo stayed the same as far as the triangle with #truth, but the color scheme changed and stuff like that. And I just love promoting people, man. That's my favorite part.
That's awesome. How do you edit and mix your episodes?
Say that again.
How do you edit and mix your episodes? How do you edit your episodes?
What do you mean by edit?
Like say you go on there and you're like, okay, well, I need to take this. I need to maybe take this out or something like that. Do you do that?
Mr. Cowboy Bob, there is not one show of #truth that has ever been edited like that.
Wow.
It is live. Whatever happens live is what happens. That's the way it's always been for me. Now, I have taken small clips out like people do and put them on, if somebody says something about somebody else and then they'll look at me, they'll call me later and say, hey, you should put that up. Maybe it'll start a match later on down the road. And I'll put the little segment up there. But as far as going in and editing or changing anything during the show, man, I've had the electricity go off during the show. I've had, and Missy will tell you all this. Chuck will tell you all this. Through 6 years of doing this show, it goes on. No matter what happens, my chair can fall off from under me. I can fall over. It doesn't matter. the show stays the way it is. I've had people come on with good internet, bad internet. I've had no shows happen. I mean, it's just the way the show goes, man. And that's what I love about doing a live show. None of my shows are pre-recorded. I almost did a pre-recorded show earlier this year, and that got changed. But yeah,
you see that, don't you?
that's why Scott has episodes where he falls out of the chair. That's
it. Chris Thunder Anderson here says that's why Scott has episodes where he falls out of his chair.
They've seen the good and they've seen the best and the worst of Scott Larsen on #Truth, man. I'm telling you.
And that's the great thing about being live. You know what I mean? That is the great thing about being live. There is no, I see, what was it? It was JR that did that. He interviewed that, what was that gentleman's name? David or something. And the guy's like, "Can I do it again?" He's like, "No, bud, we're live."
This is it.
That was awesome. Missy says, "In your opinion, what makes a wrestler marketable?"
In my opinion, what makes a wrestler marketable?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
If you could tell that wrestler is a hard worker, if that wrestler can promo, and I'm not talking about one show every 6 months. I'm talking about every show. Get on there and tell a story.
Yeah.
Get us involved, man. Go to the promoter and say, "Hey, what can I do? And how open can I be in this promo? What can I do to, can I change the match type? Can I do this? I want to start, I want to start something that might go on 2 or 3 shows. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that kind of bugs me about indie wrestling is there's no build anymore. Like there was in the old days. You know what I'm saying? There's no build. People go in, it's a one and done. A lot of these matches are one and done. I like to see the build. I'm a man who, if the baby face is getting beat down for 6 shows and then the pay-per-view comes up and the baby face wins the championship, that's what I want to see. That's going to get me out of my seat. That's what's going to get me to jump up and down. And same thing with podcasting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
If you get that perfect person who comes on and knows how to talk and tell stories, an hour flies by. An hour will seem like 5 minutes on here. But if you have that person that comes on and they're, how many years you been in the business? 10 years.
And that's it.
So what's your favorite move? My finisher. If the answer like that, you can only do so many questions in an hour. You start looking for commercials. If you see commercials on my show, if you see commercials and all kinds of other things that unless they were planned,
right,
that's telling you right there that I've run out of questions because you're not giving me anything to invest in.
Right. Ivan says, "Name drop. Read at the end of the show. Number 1, big country."
Oh, he's doing name drop for you. He wants you to do name drop. No. We got another segment for the end of the show on WrestleCast podcast, man. Oh, you don't want to miss it either. Stick around because I got some things to say. But go ahead.
Yeah. We are definitely going to get the dirt at the end of the show.
Definitely.
Chris Thunder Anderson said, "That's why Scott has episodes where we already went there. Sorry about that." Jake Jacobs kept talking about when you failed. Okay.
The first time I ever fell, me and my wife just got separate rooms, and I hadn't got a bed yet. Right. So I had a mattress on the floor, and I had a green screen behind me. Well, my cat came up, and he jumped on the green screen, and the green screen fell down. I got up in the middle of the show to turn around to go pick up the green screen. The cat got spooked, hit me in the leg, and knocked me over on top of my bed. And all you could see is elbows, and that was it. I just went down, boom. Wow. And it was a big laugh. And I think we cut it and we played it on Digicast. I think we did that because it was a pretty funny moment, and I can laugh at myself, man. There's been plenty of moments like that. If you're entertained, if it happens to be me falling out of a chair or me falling down, period. Hey, as long as you're laughing and having a good time, that's what podcasting is all about, man. Is you showing up and having a good time.
Chris says we love Scott Larsen, and that's why we give him a hard time.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Are you marketable if a guy talks about himself the whole time, no matter the question?
Oh my goodness. I know where you're going with that one. And I will tell you, I do not like people who aren't about the fans. If it's all about you and not about the fans, that's a big turnoff for Scott Larsen. I will tell you that right now. Even on my podcast,
I'm with you.
I will be professional. I'll finish out the whole thing being professional and giving you all the props in the world. But I do not like egotistical people. I just don't. Now, if you're playing your character, that's a different story. But
Right.
I'm talking about after the show's over, when you're talking to them, in front of the locker room, trying to get an interview with them. If you're just an egotistical person to begin with, big turnoff for me, man.
I like it.
Big.
He says, I like stories. Chris Thunder Anderson says, I like stories.
I do too. And if you ever sat down with Chris Thunder Anderson and was able to walk away in 5 minutes, I want to know the secret. Because I sit there with Chris Thunder Anderson and I'm stuck there. Not stuck because I love listening. I'll be there for 3 hours listening to him talk and tell all his stories. It's amazing.
Yeah. One thing about me when it comes, I can never look at my wife and go, hey, I'll be right back. You know what I mean?
No, not a Chris Thunder Anderson standing there. No, sir. No, sir.
I've had to come up. Where you been? Where you been? Well, I'm sorry, I got caught up. It just happened.
And what's great about Chris, and I'm kind of getting it away from me to Chris, but what's great about Chris is he'll tell you like it is, and doesn't matter if you like it or not. He's going to tell you the truth.
Hey, I like that. Got to be straight up, be blunt about it. I love that.
Right. I love people like that.
Missy says, I love a good show and a story that makes me go back next month to see what happens next. There are not too many that do that. And that is so true. And I'm with you. I love that same thing. And you're right. You don't see a lot of that. A lot of people are taking out, like you just got finished talking about, Scott, about, they're not dragging the storylines out. It's just a one and done deal.
Now, I have to give props. I'm going to give a shout out right here to a company, Wrestling Evolution. They're doing a couple of good storylines at their promotion. And if you're not watching Wrestling Evolution, you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They got the drip going on over there. They've got the Allen brothers got a good storyline going on. They've got some great stories going on over there, and you got to watch it and be a part of that because it is awesome. It's worth every penny to get in the door. I want to go see that show live so bad it hurts.
I tell you what, it is an amazing experience. Wrestling Evolution is an awesome promotion. I love it. I love going. I will be there myself March the 15th at the next show. Got some good things coming up for WrestleCast podcast. Going to be doing some interviews with a few guys from there in the future. I tell you, if you ever can get out there, it would be great. You'd have a blast.
Oh, I've got to. And I'm going to give you a suggestion, sir. If you don't get the Dante Khalifa on your show, you have failed. You have failed, sir.
I am fighting tooth and nail. Dante is so busy; it's unbelievable. I am working so hard to get Dante.
Keep cracking. Keep asking.
I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go. I'm going to get the dirt, and I'm going to get Dante Khalifa, the Dante Khalifa, on WrestleCast podcast, folks. It will happen. I promise you. You got my word on that.
I'll tell him he needs to go on there, man.
Exactly. He needs to come on the show for sure. Bob, that's why he is not allowed on your show.
I think she's talking about Chris. That's why he's not allowed on your show, because he tells the truth.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got you. See? My wife won't let me come on your show because I say what's on my mind. I get where you're going with that. Okay. Well, you know what? We might have to do that one day, Chris. We might have to get you on the show and just say, hey, it's uncensored. One night only WrestleCast podcast, uncensored with Chris Thunder Anderson. We can make that happen.
Definitely have one person watching.
Hey, I'll do it. I don't care. DM me, Chris. We'll talk about it.
There you go. There you go.
Missy Childers says, I love Wrestling Evolution LLC. Exactly. I'll tell you what, you just cannot get I love it. I love it. And yeah, guys, if you do go to Wrestling Evolution, you will see IMR, Ivan M. Righteous. He is there. And he's doing
Tim are one of the best commentary teams in North Carolina, if not the best.
Tim Dixon, mind blowing. Missy said, put some stank on it. That's right. The Dante Khalifa. You're exactly right.
That's right.
Hey, Chris said he's up for it. Sounds good, brother. You get, like I said, just DM me and we'll take care of it. We'll put you on the calendar. Missy says, you will have no people because he is unlike. I don't care. We will have people.
No, you'll have people. You'll have people that'll want to hear it. I guarantee it.
That's right. That's right. Yes, I will. Yes, I will, Chris. We're going to have some viewers. I promise you, we're going to have viewers.
I guarantee you they'll want.
Hey, at the end of the day, Chris, we got fans of WrestleCast podcast, fans of #Truth. They're going to come and check it out. I promise you. Anyways, before we still got some time, I got another question.
Okay.
I want you to share some tips with me on conducting great interviews, because I look at you as a great interviewer. When you're doing a podcast, the questions you ask, you get in there deep and you ask good questions. So share some tips with me there, Scott.
The one thing that gets me, and you told me before the show, you're trying it out tonight. I was never the guy that could write out my questions before the show started. I'm just not that guy. I start off and whatever comes to my head, the first question's always the same. How long you've been in the business, who trained you. And then from there, I react from what they say. So that's why I said it's hard when you get those people that do the one question and the one word answers and stuff like that, because then you run out of questions real quick. But if you get a good talker on there, the show flows and questions come real quick, man. I love talking to people. My dad over here in the other room, he's listening to me say this right now, and he has a saying. He says, I could talk to the ears off a brass mule. I talk so much. I go with the flow of the show. Very rarely do I write down a question. Maybe every once in a while, maybe Chuck will get a hold of me and go, hey man, you should ask this because there's a story behind it. You know what I mean? But other than that, if you watch my show, it's just me interact and have fun. That's the biggest tip for a podcaster out there. Don't go into this acting like it's a business, because if you do, if you're so serious all the time, you're not going to get viewers, man. Have fun. Laugh with the guys. If the guy comes, if a guy or a gal comes on and they're being their heel character the whole show, be the baby.
Yeah.
Be the baby face. Interact with them. Make it special. That's what I really like. That's what I really like to do and I love podcasts that are about shows. That's my favorite. Like we just did one for HWA for Frostbite. If you get the guys who come on and they're doing promos on there against each other on the screen before the show even hit, it makes you want to come. You're telling a story, man.
Exactly.
And I love that. Have fun with it. That's the biggest tip I'll give you personally is have fun with it, man. Just loosen up and have a good time. And the fans will come back if you do that, man. I'm telling you, they will. I've got some, this is not bragging, but I've got some loyal fans and I love every one of them. Missy's whole family. I've got my West Coast connection that comes on, Sean. I've got, 3 or 4 other people that come on every show I have, and I love every one of them. And they could tell you, they could be up here answering these questions just like me, man, if truth be told. They're probably answering the questions before I do.
I'll tell you. And I do. I enjoy having fun doing this. And I enjoy the fans. That is the biggest thing for me. When I see the fans come on, I see that they're invested, I see that they're watching, it makes me feel good, And I love their questions. I love that they're interactive with the podcast.
And I feel like a proud papa when I look up after interviewing somebody and a year later, they're starting on NXT or they're, or they're on AEW Dark, or they're somewhere, and they went somewhere. That, to me, them are proud moments, man. I feel like I had part. I feel like it was part of me that got them there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. That's
It's
exactly
probably
right.
not true, but that's the way I feel.
I mean, it could be true. Miss Cowboy in the house says, "Hey, Scott."
Hey, Miss Cowboy, how you doing? You keep this guy straight.
Chris says, in all seriousness, Scott has been a great influence on our son Luke Childers with the Bottom Line podcast and interviews. We can't thank Scotty enough for that. And that is awesome. Well said.
And it ain't me. It's all Luke, guys. It's all Luke. Luke grew up in a wrestling family. He's got a great cast of people around him. All I'm doing, he comes to me with a question, I answer it to the best of my ability. But I always tell Luke, man, make it yours. I've told you this too. Make it yours. Don't make it #truth. Don't make it somebody else. Make your show yours. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Now, if you use somebody else's, something, if they give, like I said, have people's wrestling, things on there, I give you permission. Go ahead and do it. It's a blast. But, be yourself. And let me tell you, that kid, Luke, he can ask some really good questions, boy. I'm telling you. I've watched some of them interviews. Now, he does interviews on the spot at the wrestling show, which I think is really cool, man. That is really cool. And it's hard to do because it's hard to get people who are, these guys are getting dressed and they're thinking about their match. And, Luke might get them afterwards, maybe sometimes before. But they do it. And Luke asked some really good questions, man. I even took a few questions from Luke. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I like the Bottom Line. I'm gonna tell you, he does a great job. I love the in-person interviews. I'm invested in watching it. I enjoy that myself. Missy says, when you have a passion about something, it comes easy. And that is so true. That is so true. And to us, like he said a while ago, Scott mentioned, hey, don't look at this as a job. Don't look at this as a business. And I don't look at it like that. Like this is fun, and I get to sit here and enjoy talking to you and speaking with the fans and learning in the same process. It's an awesome thing. Miss Cowboy said, trying to, it's a full-time job.
I believe that, ma'am. I really do. I really believe that.
She is wonderful, folks. She is wonderful. She's got my back.
Hey, I will say this, Cowboy Bob, and I know my wife's walking away right now as I'm about to say this. Behind every great podcaster, every great wrestler, if you're a man, there's always a better woman. I'm telling you, there's always a better woman.
That is well said. I love that. That is perfect.
I have retired from #truth 6 times. I'm the Ric Flair of podcasting. I've retired 6 times. And that woman that just walked out of this room has talked me back. And she's like, Scott, you love this. You're miserable. Go back and do it. I'll pay for it. Do what you got to do, man. Just go do it. You're miserable.
I'll tell you, I look forward to watching #truth. You know what I'm saying?
It's always fun for me, man. I have a blast doing it. When you get those wrestlers, like I said, that tell stories and interact with you, and I'll use your phrase, when you can get the dirt sometimes, it's really fun to do, man. It is. Sometimes it's a challenge, but a lot of times it's pure fun. And then when you watch, I'll give another example, man. Luke Fury, man. I have interviewed him probably 10 times on my show, and he's just getting better and better, man. I'm telling you, if in less than a year from now, if Luke Fury isn't at training at NXT or at AEW Dark, these people don't know wrestling. I'm telling you, this kid is that good.
He really is. He's mind-blowing. I love watching him in the ring.
Oh, yes.
Chris says, behind every good man, there is a woman telling him what to do and how to do it. I love my wife. Exactly. I agree, though. I do. Yes. Missy says, if you want the right answer, ask a woman. Fact.
Now, Chris and you will both agree with this. They will definitely keep you on the straight and narrow. They know when you're going off and doing something wrong. They'll be like, hey, get back over here.
Yes. I've had my chastisms.
With all the drama that happens in wrestling, you want to walk up and say something to that person, and the wife is sitting there going, "Don't even think about it, Cowboy Bob. Don't even think about it."
Yeah, you should really not do that.
Let him talk his junk. Let him talk his junk. Don't even think about it.
That's right. Yes, I love my wife. She is amazing. And like I said, she backs me 100%.
I've had a couple of good long conversations with her at some of the wrestling shows, and she is a fine woman, man. You got a good one there.
I really appreciate that. I feel blessed. I really do. And with that being said, Scott, we are getting to the end of the show. And,
we can have fun now.
Yeah. And with that being said, I always like to word it like this because, hey, I give Roughneck a hard time. But this segment come all because of Roughneck. And it is called, I'm about to hurt someone's feelings. And with that being said,
I can
Scott,
do that.
Drop down. I'm about to drop down. And Scott Larsen from #Truth right here on WrestleCast Podcast, folks.
This is a first for me. I get to do a rant on somebody else's podcast. This is pretty cool. So if it bombs, it won't come back on my show. But anyway, no, I do have somebody I'm going to make mad. And if people watch this and they do get mad, I don't care. I'm going to talk to some owner promoters out there. And I'm going to say this. This is the first thing I'm going to say. And I've seen it so many times. And every time I've seen it, I've just wanted to throw up. If you are an owner promoter of a wrestling company and you don't have the money to cover everything before the show even starts, get the hell out of professional wrestling. Please, you're doing all of us a disfavor. Everybody in the business knows who you are. They all know who you are. And if you allow stuff to come out of your locker room and become public, then you're part of the problem of the bad people in professional wrestling. The biggest thing that makes me upset, and I've seen it here recently a few times, and I had a conversation with a good friend of mine. She knows who she is. You have a problem in a locker room, and the first thing you want to do, I'm going to go live and shoot on this person. I'm going to tell everybody everything about this person. Do you not realize you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting the company that you're talking about? Because you're going to burn a total bridge right there. You're going to burn a total bridge. And I hate seeing that professional wrestling. There are a lot of good owner promoters out there who really know their stuff, who got the money before the show starts. I'll name drop, man, the good ones that I love. There's 3 of them that I could think of right off the top of my head. Wrestling Evolution, NAWA, and who's the third one I'm trying to think of? Oh, man, my mind just went blank. But anyway, those 2 especially I love. And, if you go there, they're gonna promote the crap out of you, and they're gonna make you look good. And you should do the same with them. You should be doing promos. You should be doing whatever they ask, because they're gonna make you look like $1 million. And these guys out there who have to wait for the door to come in to just pay wrestlers, these promoters that escape out the back door, and wrestlers know who I'm talking about. If they're watching this, they know exactly who I'm talking about. It's happened to them. I guarantee you it's happened to them. The promoter escapes out the back door without paying you, or he gives you the runaround. Oh, let me get you up on Friday. Let me hit you up on Friday. You hit him up on Friday. Oh, something happened. I'll gladly pay you next Tuesday for a cheeseburger today. You know the runaround you get. It's horrible. People, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Have everything covered before your show even starts, and you will make a good name for yourself. And the good wrestlers will all want to show up at your show. They'll beg to be on your show. And I've even heard through the grapevine that some of these shows are turning away people because they've got good wrestlers right now. So I'm just going to say, oh, yes, Ivan, you are right. Showtime, Deshaun Watkins, Compton Mania over in California. He's another great promoter, man. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. But that's pretty much who I want to go after. Um, have the money to pay your people. Have the money to pay your people, or get out of professional wrestling, man, because you're doing everybody a disservice.
I'll tell you. And folks, if that wasn't the dirt, I don't know what is. That was hurting somebody's feelings right there. I'm sure somebody felt that to the bone.
I love everybody. Don't get me wrong. I love all the professional wrestlers out there. I don't think, if you really want to be in this business, there are avenues and ways to do it, and there's avenues and ways not to do it. And there's so many podcasts out there. There are so many people who are TV contract Hall of Fame wrestlers who will tell you how to do it. But if you're not going to listen to them, then you're always going to be that $10 wrestler. That you're going to be right where you're at right now, 20 years from now. Now, there are some wrestlers that enjoy that. They don't want to go up higher because they got family things going on, and I respect the hell out of that. I do. But if you're one of them guys that are coming on a podcast and say, this is my life, this is what I want to do, I always ask the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And if they say, well, AEW, what are you doing to get there? What are you doing to get to the WWE and AEW?
That's exactly right. You got to put forth the effort. You got to put the time in. You got to put the dedication in.
I like that. That is true, Josh. I love that. Wrestling is a business to make money, not friends.
Yes, definitely. And Josh, by the way, is one heck of a referee. I want to set that out there. Love Wrestling Evolution. Yes, we do. Amazing promotion. Tim Wilcox throws on a show like nobody's business, man. It makes you
storylines galore coming out of that place. Man. NAWA, Michael Elliott runs that show, top of the line, man. He does promos all the time. He does, he's always doing commercials for his show, and he's got his wrestlers on there. And if you're not promoing for him and doing everything, man, you're just wrong. These guys are great.
I'm telling you, mind blowing. When you go to when you always want to go back and see more. You just do. You're very welcome, Josh. Very welcome. Caleb Crocker has stopped by. Scott, what's up, brother?
My favorite heel of all time, man. Let me tell you, you gotta go get you some Caleb Crocker, man. Betty Crocker himself. Yes.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna work it in. We're gonna get Caleb on the show. We gotta tweak some things, check that calendar again, and we're gonna get Caleb.
Yes, Caleb, definitely come on here, man. I love what you do. I love everything that you've been doing. You've been on my show a few times. You are the quintessential heel out there, man, and I love it. I love everything that he does, man.
He's a great talent. He's a great talent.
He is. He's one of them that's AEW and them's got to start looking at him, man. They really do.
That's a true fact right there. It's a heck of a statement. It's a true statement. They really do need to.
And trust me, there's plenty more out there. Don't think I'm just giving Caleb all the love. There are plenty of other wrestlers out there. I always say this. This is one of the biggest things I've ever said on my show. Don't ever down anybody at any wrestling show if they're trying. If they're trying. Because you never know who that next diamond in the rough's going to be. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. Javon White from NXT. I interviewed this kid back when he was like 14, 15 years old. And now look where he's at. He's on NXT just blowing the roof off the place, man.
Yeah, that's a fact. He's amazing in the ring. I've watched it.
Very proud of him. No, thank you, Caleb. Thank you for being who you are, man, and working so hard to be who you are. Thank you.
Yes, and we definitely.
Because you're giving me something to invest in, and you need to come on here and give us the dirt, man.
Correct. That's exactly right. Right here at WrestleCast Podcast.
Right here.
We want to get the dirt, and we're going to get the dirt from Caleb. We're going to put the Caleb on. Definitely, we're going to make
And
it happen.
congratulations, Caleb. I saw that pretty young lady that you're in a relationship with. Congratulations. I don't know if she knows what she's getting into, but congratulations, brother.
Missy says Caleb had an awesome match with Luke Fury at EPW. He has a lot of talent. Yes.
Both of them guys are very talented and should go very far.
Yes, and fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch in the ring. I have no problem paying money to go see it. I can tell you that.
Without a doubt.
But folks, with that being said, we're gonna shut things down, and I'm gonna play a little something at the end here. And then we're going to end the show. Before
are you going to give us something to invest in, Cowboy Bob?
Well, it's not really that. I'm not going to do that. Not just yet. Not just yet. I definitely want to do that. Just not yet.
Okay.
But I want to take the time, first of all, Scott. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, man. Thank you for picking up. And I'm again, all the podcasts. I mean this to all the podcasts in the area. Luke, everybody, thank you for picking up and doing what I do and what I love to do and enjoying what I love to do, because I'm not going to be doing it much longer, folks. I didn't get to this point. I'm going to say one small thing before we leave, Cowboy Bob. Yeah. I'm not retiring, but I am kind of semi-retiring. My health is rearing up again. I'm not going to be doing shows 3 days a week anymore. I'm going to be doing more, if a wrestling show wants to cover a show coming up, I'm going to do that. Or if there's I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm trying to get Matt Burns on #Truth before March 8th, because he just announced that March 8th at HWA will be his last match of his career. And Matt Burns is an amazing guy. And please send him a message and tell him, come on #Truth, man. Get him motivated.
Exactly. There you go. Send the word out. Get the word out.
That's it.
Thank you
very much for having me, Cowboy Bob. I appreciate this, man. This was a blast
on this show. I appreciate all that you do. I appreciate what you do for the business. I appreciate what you do for all of us as podcasters, and how you've paved the way. And I still look forward to seeing the #Truth when you do a show. I can't wait to see the next show.
I can't put enough love out there to all the people that watch my show. So grateful. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We love you, Scott. We love you. We appreciate you so much. You are an amazing person, and God bless you, man. God bless you and everything that you do, and just know that we do love you and we're here for you. And what an amazing person to have on WrestleCast Podcast. This is a podcast that will go down history.
I enjoyed it. And if you guys ever need anything, if you're a podcaster out there and need some help, hit me up, man. I help anybody. They'll tell you that, and just get on here and have some fun, do some podcasting, give us something to invest in, give us, these interviews so we get to know these wrestlers better. And that's all I ask, man. That's all I ask.
That's right, folks. We want to get the dirt. And with that said, y'all have a wonderful night. God bless everybody. Stay tuned for next Tuesday. Don't forget #Truth. Keep your eyes open. Scott will post it. Y'all guys will be notified. And, man, folks, we love y'all.
Oh, come on. Let me end it the right way. You guys, if you're not listening to Cowboy Bob, if you got plans, you better break them. And that is the #Truth.
Won't waste another minute. No, I won't. I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. I don't need no permission.